Hey everybody. I know everybody's waiting for the next installment of the How to Be a Christian Counselor series, and that one is pending. There's actually two in the works, but some things happened, and I really feel the need to talk to you guys about it. This one's going to be a bit of a roller coaster, so let's go. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Shannon Q. As some of you may know, if you have been following a lot of the atheist community on social media, you've seen some pumpkins appear in people's Twitter handles. Now, there's a very distinct reason for that, and that's the reason that I wanted to have a conversation with you today. I don't generally do unscripted videos, but I'm doing one today because I wanted to speak directly to you about what's going on and what you can do to help and how we got here. So I've recently become more aware of a church called the New Independent Fundamentalist Baptist Church. We're going to call it NIFB for short. This is a church that preaches some really reprehensible things, and we're going to get to that in a minute, but I'm going to explain kind of how we got here first. So recently, dear Mr. Atheist, my friend Jimmy, who means a great deal to me, somebody that I care about personally, was directly attacked by one of the ministers at the church named Tommy McMurtry. And Tommy McMurtry attacked dear Mr. Atheist by calling him Mr. Pumpkin. He called him Mr. Pumpkin because a pumpkin is the biggest fruit on earth. As most people who do subscribe to Jimmy know, he is pansexual, which means that he is not heterosexual. And the members of this church have very, very strong preachings against people who are members of the LGBTQ plus community. Now, without going into too much of the history, I'm going to link a playlist that I've created above so that you can kind of go through exactly what happened, but I'm going to give you a bit of a summary. So the NIFB church preaches something very specific. They preach for capital punishment against any members of the LGBTQ community. And in order to really drive that point home with people, they have decided that they are going to be having a conference on the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting because they would like to celebrate the deaths of people who are members of that community. They put out a video that endorsed their conference and endorsed this perspective and contained serious hate speech. Mr. Atheist made a video in order to send his audience to that video so that it could be flagged for hate speech, which it was because it violated the terms of YouTube's service. In response to that, Tommy McMurtry, who is one of the pastors of an NIFB church, he's the pastor of the Liberty Baptist Church, which is under their banner, made a response video to Jimmy, as I mentioned, calling him Mr. Pumpkin because he was the biggest fruit on earth. When Jimmy brought this to my attention and the attention of several other atheist YouTubers and a polytheist YouTuber, hi Ocean, we decided that we should have a look into this church. When we decided to delve into the church, we found utterly reprehensible things to a degree that is really emotionally affecting to me. So I'll apologize if a little bit of this is incoherent. I don't generally do off-script videos, and I'm emotionally affected. So this church has preachings that you can't rape your wife, as an example. Women should be submissive to their husbands. Children should be spanked, and that members of the LGBTQ community should be put to death. They hide behind the fact that they don't want to do it themselves. They instead advocate that the government should do it on their behalf. They believe that members of the LGBTQ community should be put to death the same way that murderers are put to death, because they perceive it as a crime against God. Some people don't understand the abject hatred that these people are proselytizing, nor do they understand the breadth of reach that they're starting to have. They started with 15 churches just over a year ago, and now they have 30. And within their churches, they say things like this.
Look, you want drag queen story hour? How about we have government drag queen story hour, where we take all the kids and all the community and everybody come out, and we have like one of those old-fashioned Western stories where we hang them high up on the yard. And we say, all right, kids, we're going out to drag queen story hour. We're going out to, hey, everybody, gather around. We're having drag queen stoning hour.
That was Pastor Michael Johnson from the Temple Baptist Church. The Temple Baptist Church is one of the new independent fundamentalist Baptist churches that I was speaking about. What you just heard was reprehensible, and that's just a drop in the pan. This church doesn't adhere to the subtle bigotry of the love the sinner, hate the sin strategies that most other churches have. On the contrary, they think that that's too soft. They think that God hates the sinner as much as the sin, and thus we should too. And if you think that they don't, why don't you have a listen to Bruce Meha of the Faithful Word Baptist Church, who's also under the new independent fundamentalist Baptist church banner.
And here's the reason why this is a loving teaching, okay? Here's the reason why this is love. Because in the Old Testament, God said that these people should be put to death. Okay? You say, well, that's not loving. That's very loving. Because what God is saying is we need to put these people to death so that they don't harm anybody else.
What you just heard is active advocation for hatred, for mobilized hatred amongst their many congregations. These are different churches that you're hearing from, all under the same banner. This isn't a tiny one church fringe. They're multiple, and they're growing. They're even international. Mostly they're in America, but they have churches in Canada too. They even have one open in the Philippines. And they are ardent, and they're not subtle. The next person you're going to hear is going to be Steven Anderson, who is essentially the church figurehead. He is the primary pastor at the Faithful Word Baptist Church. And this is what he thinks about people in the LGBTQ community.
If I had a button on the pulpit, I could push it and every homosexual would fall over dead. I will push it until I break my finger.
And if you don't feel as though that makes a compelling case that this is prevalent amongst this group of people, why don't we revisit our friend, Pastor Tommy McMurtry, the maybe, maybe not pumpkin lover? We just can't know for sure. From the Liberty Baptist Church, and hear what he thinks about the LGBTQ plus community.
Nobody's saying they're never around, but there was a time when society, when our country saw them for what they were, and they put them in their place 6 feet under.
And if you think that that's where their hatred stops and their ignorance, why don't you have a quick listen to what our friend Steven Anderson here has to say about his perspective on mental health and how to deal with it in your children.
Look, ADD does not exist. Right. Yeah. Yes, you heard me. Right. ADD does not exist. Amen. It's you know what it means? And then they talk about, oh, he has Asperger. And he has ADD, and he has ADD. No, he needs his butt whipped. Yep. Yeah. That's it. That's what he needs. Yep.
Now, I know that was a lot to hear. A lot. It's a lot for me to hear. And I've been listening to a lot of their sermons and going through a lot of their videos. And it left me thinking, I have to do something. We have to do something. People like this can't stand. They are having a rally during Pride Month on the anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting. They are brazen because they know that they are protected under the banner of religion. And it can feel frustrating because you think to yourself, what more can I do? What aside from letting people know that this is happening, letting people know that somebody like this exists, opposing them, putting out contrary information, what can I do? So we decided to do something. Many of us are starting to put up an organized opposition. Godless Engineer, Apologia, Caitlin Chloe, The Non Sequitur Show, Mr. Atheist, Prophet of Zod, Digital Hammurabi, Sir Skeptic, Atheist Rationale, Genetically Modified Skeptic, members of the ACA, Holy Kool-Aid, and the list goes on. A lot of the creators that you know and respect are starting to organize because this just can't be tolerated. There are already some things in the works, and soon I'll get to how you can help. But Mr. Atheist already bought TommyMcMurtry.com, which is in no way affiliated with Tommy McMurtry or Liberty Baptist Church. And we are doing some search engine optimization so that we can make sure that when people search for these pastors or the NIFB, we are what they find instead. And we've already had a financial effect. These churches count on donations through PayPal. Every single one of their websites takes credit card donations, and there is a list of their churches and websites in the description. There are 30 churches, which is a lot, but each congregation isn't more than 100 to 200 people, so that's not a lot of people to gather money from. They rely on external donations through platforms like PayPal. And as I'm about to show you, they entirely violate those terms of service. If you look on the screen right now, you will see the PayPal terms of service that they are violating. I have highlighted the subsection for you. And if you'd like to hear what we've done already, why don't you listen to Michael Johnson again from the Temple Baptist Church? He'll tell you the effect that we've already had.
I think they got the Make America Straight conference, PayPal, shut down maybe or something. I'm hearing something about that. And basically they're saying it violates the PayPal, whatever, agreement, license agreement. And what are they saying? Well, they're saying, hey, it says something about inciting violence.
And when I say we, I don't mean the content creators. I mean you. You are the most powerful part of us. Everything that we've accomplished thus far, we have accomplished because people like you can't stand by either. There are small, incremental things that you can do in a matter of minutes that will have an effect. They are brazen and they are cocky because they know that they are shielded by their religion. Instead of outright calling their congregation to act against members of the LGBTQ community, they hide behind their rhetoric. They embolden them with it. Saying that you want the government to engage in genocide on your behalf is still a call to violence. Saying that it's right to do it is placing an idea in the heads of every member of that congregation that they're in the right to agree with you. And when it comes to a circumstance where they have a choice and they choose what they think is right, what do you think they're going to do? Rest assured that we're not going to sit by idly while people like this walk with their heads high. I honestly don't know how they wake up in the morning and look themselves in the mirror, but apparently they do. And so long as people like that can, people like us and people like you have to do something about it. I cannot stress enough that you are the most important part of us. You are what drives us all to do this, and you have so much more power than you realize. Rest assured that we are working tirelessly in the background to fight against people like this. But you can help too. We've set up an email address that I'm going to have linked in the description down below, and we're starting a website where we can aggregate this information so that people can become aware of who they are and what they're doing. And as part of that website, we're also going to make sure that we have a place where people who are within this cult can go for help. If you're watching this video right now and you are a wife who's been raped, if you are somebody who's a member of the LGBTQ plus community and you feel like you can't tell anybody because you will lose anything and risk violence against you, if you are scared, please reach out to us. There are always links in my description down below to the Secular Therapy Project, the Clergy Project, and the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Please utilize them. You have an opportunity to get out. I'm going to leave you with this. You can make a difference. You already have. We've already cut off the Make America Straight campaign's PayPal account. We can do it to the rest of them. They're in clear violation of the terms of service. We can prevent them from getting funding so that they can't buy their placards, so that they can't book their accommodations, so that they cannot go to places where people are mourning the loss of their loved ones and celebrate their deaths and advocate for more. I know it hurts. It hurts me too. But we can't fight like they fight. We have to be smarter and we have to be better. We have to rise above. We have to transcend. Many of the people in this organizations aren't orchestrators, they're victims. Their ideals are reprehensible because they've been indoctrinated. Perhaps we can save some. So please keep up with us. Follow the creators that you love. Know that we're working. Go to the website, send us emails, follow us on Twitter, put a pumpkin in your handle so that we know that you're supporting us and that you're with us. I know that our community cares. I've seen it, and I'll see it again. I'm seeing it now, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Thank you for making me feel that way.